Hello and welcome to Powerviz. In this tutorial, we will explore the activity gauge visual. Whether you're tracking project progress, monitoring sales targets, or analyzing any other data-driven activity, this visual is your go-to solution for intuitive insights. With Powerviz, you get the power to customize, visualize, and comprehend your data like never before. Now let's explore the key features that make the activity gauge a game changer. Before I begin this tutorial, let me show you how to download this visual from the AppSource. All you have to do is head to the Build a Visual tab, click on these ellipses here, and then select Get More Visuals. This will take you to the AppSource. And in the search section here, type in Activity Gauge. Let's click on this icon and select Add. Once you click on Add, the visual will get successfully imported into your Power BI report. Let's click on OK, and this is the visual that we have added from the AppSource. So let's click on this. Let's increase the size of this visual and then bring in the data into our visual. I'm going to bring in the category into the category section, and then I would like to bring in the sales into the measure section. And now my activity gauge visual is displaying the sales by the category. Let's head over to the advanced settings where we can explore a whole lot of options that are available to customize based on your requirements and preferences. Let's head to the first section here, which is the gauge options under advanced settings. By default, the full circle style is applied to this visual, but you can also go ahead and change this to 270-degree circle and click on apply, and now you have your 270-degree circle. Let's go back to gauge options. You also have a semicircle option. When you click on apply, you now have a semicircle. And the last option here is the custom option, where you get to choose the start angle and also the end angle. The next option here is to control the opacity. If you want to decrease the opacity of the visual, you can do that. When you click on apply, the opacity of the visual has now decreased to 44%. The next option helps you control the spacing between the arc. By default, it is set at 1. If I increase this to, let's say, about 3 and click on apply, you see that now we have more spacing between the arcs. The next option here is to control the corner radius. By default, the rounded radius is selected, but you can also change this to sharp and click on apply. When you do that, you now have the sharp edges around the arc. The next option is to enable the gauge axis. By default, this is turned off, but when you turn this on and click on apply, you will now be able to see the gauge axis around the arc, which defines the percentage of the arcs. Within the gauge axis, you also get to control the number of ticks that you see on the visual. By default, there are 5 ticks, but if you want to increase them, let's say to about 10, and now you will see that there are 10 ticks available on this visual. You will also be able to control the font family, the styling of the font, the text size, and the color of the gauge axis. The last option here under the gauge options is the remaining arc. This lets you control or format the remaining arcs that are visual. For example, in this, the remaining arcs is this section of the arcs. By default, the same thickness as arc is applied to the remaining arc as well. But if you'd like to change them, you can simply toggle this off. And now you have an option to control the width of the remaining arcs. For example, by default, the width is set to 1. Let me click on apply, and now you will see that the remaining arc width has now reduced to 1. You'll also be able to control the color of the arc. By default, the same color as arc is turned off, but you can turn this on, and now you have the same color on the remaining arc as well. But if you want to change the colors, you can do that. You can simply turn this off and choose a color here of your choice. Let's say if you want to have this red here, click on apply. You'll also be able to control the arc opacity. You can set at 100% if you would like to. And if you would like to reduce the opacity, head back to the gauge options, and under the remaining arc opacity, you can drop this to about, let's say, about 10%. And then when you click on apply, you now have 10% opacity applied to the remaining arcs. I have now changed the gauge style of this visual to show you the next option that is available here, which is icons inside the arc. So when I scroll down, this is turned off by default. Let's turn this on and then look at the options that are available here. The first option here is to control the color of the icon. Let me choose this yellow here and then click on apply. You also have the icon size. Right now it's set to 50%, and then the icon position, whether you want at the starting of the arc or at the ending of the arc. This is the icon that we would like to add to our visual. You also have different options that are available here to choose from. By default, you have the arrow that is available. I'm going to apply that here, and let's select apply, and now you have the icon appearing at the starting of the arc. But if you would like to change that, you can do so by clicking the other option that is available here is at the end of the arc. When you click on apply, you now have the icon appearing towards the end of the arc. And not just this, you will also be able to control the icon type by the category. You can choose a distinct icon for a particular category. Let's say, for example, for the snacks category, you would like to have the pizza icon here. When you click on apply, and then for beverage you want to have a different icon here, you can select that, and then when you click on apply, that particular icon will get applied to the categories. Let's head to the next option here, which is target. Target plays an important role in creating these arcs. By default, max of all values is considered as target. In this case, snacks has the highest value, which is 2.55 million, and that is considered as the target. But if you would like to change that, you can do so from this drop down. You can choose sum of all sales. You can click on apply. The sum of all sales now gets applied as a target. But if you would like to have a custom field to do that, you can do so. I have a target measure in my data model here. I can bring that into the target section and then head to my target field here, select target and click on apply. I now have my target defined, and I can very clearly say that my snacks category has achieved only 84.9% of the target, and my fruit and veggies category has achieved only 54.7% of the target. Likewise, the next option here is the custom option, where you can hard code any value here based on your requirements and click on apply. That particular target value will get applied to your visual. Let's head to the next section, which is data colors. You have a whole lot of options here to choose from, but by default the Power BI theme is selected here. But if you want to apply a single color, you can do that from here, and when you click on apply, you now have single color applied to your visual. Likewise, the next option here is the gradient. If you would like to apply a gradient to your visual, you can do so, and when you click on apply, you now have a gradient applied to your visual. You can also enable the mid color if you would like within gradient, and now when you click on apply, you have a minimum, maximum and the middle color. The next option here is to choose the color by category. You can choose a color of your choice. For example, if you want to have this orange for snacks, you can do that. You can click on apply. You can choose a different color for every single category. The next option here is sequential. You have various color palettes here to choose from. For example, let's apply this yellow and then click on apply. You now have the sequential color palette applied to this particular visual. And the next option here is the diverging color palette. We have various options here for you to choose from. For example, if you'd like to apply red to blue, you can do that. When you click on apply, you now have the red to blue applied to this particular visual. And the last color palette that we have here is the qualitative color palette. We have various palettes to choose from. For example, if you want to apply the bold color here, you can do so by clicking on apply. We now have the bold color palette applied to our visual. You also have an option here to reverse colors if you would like. When you click on apply, the colors are now reversed. Let's head to the next section, which is fill pattern. You can enable patterns here, and you can choose the pattern based on a category. For example, we have these many patterns that are available here. Let's say for the snacks category, you would like to apply the star here, and when you click on apply, the star pattern is now applied to the snacks category. You also get an option here to upload a custom image of your choice, but make sure that the custom image is of pixels 32 by 32 only, and when you click on apply, that particular custom image fill pattern will get applied to the category. Let's take a look at the next option here, which is labels. So within labels, you have two types of labels, which is data labels and the leaf labels. Let's take a look at both of them. First, let's take a look at the data labels that we have here. By default, they are turned on. The display style here, you can choose to display all detail labels, or you want to display just the category or the category and data value, the percentage of total, etc. Right now, I'll leave it at all detail labels that we have over here. We have the category information, we have the value, also the percentage of total. You also get to control the font family, the styling of the font, the auto text size. You have an auto text size option here. If you turn this off, you'll be able to manually control the text size of the data label, and then you also have the text color. If you would like to change that, you can do so from here, and you can also enable background. If you turn this off, you will not have any background applied to that particular data label. Within the data labels, we also have leaf labels. So by default, they are turned off. Let's toggle them to turn them on. You have various options here to choose from. Like I mentioned earlier, we have category, we have percent of total, we have data value, percentage of total, or all details labels here. Based on your requirements, you can choose. For example, let's choose category. You also get to control the font family, the styling of the font, the text size, the color, etc. Let's click on apply, and now you will be able to see the data labels, the leaf labels here outside of the visual. Let's head to the next section here, which is ranking. You'll also be able to enable ranking and choose to display only top n number of categories. For example, let's say I just want to display top 3 categories in this case, and when I click on apply, I will now be able to display just top 3 categories. And if I would like to group the rest of the categories as others, I can do that from my ranking section here. I have an option here where with just a click of a button which says show remaining as others, you'll now be able to group rest of the categories as others in this visual. Like we have the top n option, we also have the bottom n option where you'll be able to see the bottom categories. When I uncheck this box, let me just click on apply. What you're now seeing is the bottom 3 categories of our data set. We also have an option here where you can group the remaining as others. When you click on apply, you now have the others category being displayed as well. Let's head to the next section, which is sorting. By default, the sorting is turned off. You can toggle this to enable sorting, and you get various options to choose from. For example, if you want to sort by category, you can do that. When you click on apply, you now have the data sorted by category. And if you would like to choose sort by ascending or descending order, you can do that as well. For example, if you want to sort category ascending, you can do that right from here. And if you would like to sort the data here by sum of sales, you can do that. And the last option here is to sort the data by target. Let's head to the next section, which is center circle. Center circle is this section of the area which can be utilized to display some key information to your end users. So let's click on add layer. You can add a description to your center circle. For example, I'm just going to call this as test description. And then you can also control the font family, the styling of the font, the text size, the color of the font, etc. And the next option here is to choose the measure that you want to display. I have the sum of sales being displayed over here. Field aggregation, whether you would like to sum or choose to display the min value or the max value or the average or the count of the value. Let's display the sum value here. The font family styling can be chosen from here, the text size, the color, etc. Once you have chosen all of the styling options here, let's click on save layer and then let's click on save again. And now you have the total sales being displayed in the center circle of the visual. Likewise, I can also add a layer if I would like. For example, if I want to display this icon over here, I can do that. There are various options here for you to choose from, and you can also control the icon size. And then when you click on save here, you now have the star being displayed in the center circle. And the last option here is to display an image. If you would like to display an image of your choice, you can do so by hitting the browse button and choosing the image of your choice and entering the width and height of that particular image. Let's head to the next section, which is mouse over text. By default, this is disabled. Let's toggle to enable this. You have various display styles to choose from. You have all details label, percentage of total, category, etc. Let's choose percentage of total this time. You have an option here to check this box to autofit the content or not. The next option here is to control the text styles, the font family, styling, text size, color, etc. Let's click on apply. When you hover over a particular category, it is now displaying the percentage of sales for that particular category. Let's head over to the next section, which is conditional formatting. You'll be able to add a rule here so that you'll be able to control the colors of the categories based on your conditions. So I can apply the conditional formatting to either a measure or by category. Let's apply this to a measure here. I have the sum of sales, and I'm going to say if this is less than equals to 2 million, I need this to get highlighted here in red. I'm going to click on apply and say save, and now anything that I have less than 2 million in sales is now highlighted in red. And the last option here, which we have within the advanced settings, is the show condition. The show condition here basically works on a Boolean value, whether you want to display the visual based on a certain condition or not. Let's say, for example, I have region as a slicer in my visual, and unless and until the user selects any particular region, I don't want to display this visual. I can use the show condition to do that. All I have to do is create a new measure. I'm going to call this measure as show is equals to, I'm going to use an if statement to check if my column here is filtered or not. My column here is region, so I'm going to check if my region column is filtered or not. So if is filtered, I'm going to return 1, else I'm going to return a 0. I'm going to close and confirm, and let's select this visual. I have a show option over here. I can bring in the show condition that I have created into this section. Now let's head back to the advanced settings. I now have the show condition enabled. I can choose the show field here and the message that I want to display. In this case, show chart condition is not fulfilled, and I have my font family, styling, text size, color here to choose from. I can click on apply. Let's go back to my report, and when I choose a particular value here from the slicer, I will now be able to display my visual. And if I select or uncheck any of these selections from the slicer, I will not be able to display the visual. Outside of the advanced settings, we have a couple of more features. I have the annotation feature right here. When you click on annotation, you'll be able to add an annotation. For example, if you would like to give an explanation why the fruits and veggies category sales has dropped so much this time, you can click on where you would like to add the annotation and enter the text of your choice. Sales has dropped. Just as an example, I'm going to just type this. You'll also be able to choose the connector of your choice. We have 3 different options here, and then we also have stroke options, whether you want a solid line or a dashed line, and how you would like the marker to be, the arrow marker, the dot marker, or none. You can do that. You can also choose the badge, the font size, etc. I'm going to click on apply. I now have an annotation created on my visual. The user can simply click on this and be able to see additional information related to that particular category. The next option here is to change this to grid view. You'll be able to see the data here in a tabular format by just a click of a button. Apart from all of this, you also have some formatting options. Within the format tab here, you have your standard size and style options here, the title, visual settings, whether you would like to display the icons that we see here, advanced settings, grid, and the annotations. You can turn them off from here if you would like to, and you also can control the legend if you would like. The position of the legend can be controlled from here. The next option here is to control the number formatting. If you would like to change the number formatting, if you would like to prefix, let's say if you want to prefix with a dollar value, you can do that right from here, and now the dollar has been prefixed before our sales amount. With this, we've come towards the end of this walkthrough. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Powerviz activity visual. We hope you're as excited about transforming your data into meaningful visualizations as we are. Stay connected with us on social media for all the latest tips, tricks, and updates. Have any questions or suggestions? Drop them in the comment section below. We love hearing from our Power BI community. Keep exploring, keep visualizing, and keep empowering your data with Powerviz. Until next time, happy analyzing.